It's hard watching comedians you thought were really funny when you first started, and then you watch them again.
Yeah.
You're like, I was laughing at this.
Yeah, it's wild.
That's my fear. That's my fear is somebody's going to think that about me. Somebody's going to watch my set again 10 years from now and be like, this is what I was laughing at? Like, I'm so terrified of that because I'll do that with other people. And I'm like, man, I remember tears. I mean, there's people I can watch and I'll still laugh. I mean, that's most. But, I do think that we ruined comedy a little bit for ourselves. We ruined it a little bit.
Yeah.
You know?
Have you ever had a dream that you had to do so much you could do anything?
Preacher, you look good, man.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
And I mean that. I mean, I've said that to you for as long as I've known you because you're always in impeccable shape. I think at any moment it looks like you're ready for a Marvel movie, and as you should be.
You know what? I hope Marvel thinks that at any point. That'd be amazing. I appreciate that. Your studio looks amazing. This looks expensive.
Yeah. I mean, with the last time you and I filmed here, other than that thing for the OnlyFans, we filmed for Dog Vlog, and then we had that shit against the back wall, and we had Stella. Yeah. That was wild. You just got done with America's Got Talent then.
Yeah.
And
like
no,
it was 2019.
2019. So we just did the Champions.
Yeah.
Which you won that. No,
I top 5.
Yeah. You should have won that, though.
I don't think so.
How often does that get tired? Because I hear it often. I'm sure you hear it often. You should have won.
It's a
nice thing to say.
I think it was tired after the first weekend of hearing it.
Yeah.
And then you kind of, a few weekends go by and you're like, oh, this is not going to go away.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah. It's a nice thing to say, I think.
Yeah, they're very nice.
Because people are trying to say, like, they're adding more to just, because sometimes you get people who are just like, I saw you on that show, which is almost the same as saying nothing. You know what I mean? Like, they're not really adding anything by saying, like, they're not giving you an opinion on what it is that they're telling you. But if they say, I saw you on that show and you should have won. Yeah. That's really nice. Like when people see me all the time, they're like, I saw you on that show and Preacher should have won. That's what they say to me. And I'm like, I know. He's so fucking funny. So charming.
I'll get this where I was on Champions and they're like, I voted for you. And you couldn't have voted on that show. You can't vote. And the first couple of times I'm like, you couldn't have voted. They're like, no, I voted. And I'm like, okay, but yeah.
Just whatever.
Yeah, you did. You voted for me.
How do you feel about... hang on. First of all, what was your process with America's Got Talent? Like, did they reach out to you? You did season 12. Season 12.
12. I did season 12. I auditioned in 2013, and I got to the producers, and I remember I was in the room, full of, a producer found me, and I was in front of like 3 other producers, and one lady was cracking up. She was dying, and then the other 2 people, actually Ruben was there. Ruben took me, to my first America's Got Talent audition, and it's 2013, and I remember I went in, and then I was like, I think I got it, yo. Yeah, I didn't get it, and then a producer asked me to do it again, and of course, I still had to wait in line, but it just wasn't that line. Mm-hmm. And then I had to go, it's a couple auditions, and then after the 2 auditions, and you got to go through more things, then you do the final one.
Yeah.
So that's how it went, and I didn't hold my breath. I was like, they can cut me out, and then when it happened, I was like, it's happening. It was crazy.
Because you were in 2013, you were still fairly new into comedy, right?
Yeah, I was about 4 years in.
In 2013.
2013. Wow. I was 4 years in.
Okay, so 2013, you're 4 years in.
I'm glad I didn't get on, by the way.
Yeah, because
I wouldn't have been ready.
Yeah. But you had such a good audition. Were you because you felt good about your audition the first time that you did it in 2013.
Yeah, I quit my job.
Really?
I quit my job. I quit my job to audition for America's Got Talent the first time, and I didn't get it. You know how bad that was? I remember my job called me up. They're like, you're supposed to be in. And I'm like, I know, but, I'm going to be on America's Got Talent. And then I didn't get it. And I was like, hey, guys, I know I didn't show up. Hello? Give me the job back. So that was pretty horrible. I was very sad.
Only you would quit your job for a callback.
I know, it was very dumb. It was very dumb, but I was like, this is the producer talked to me. I was in there and it was just annoying.
I filled out forms. You don't even know.
I know. I thought I had it. And I'm just imagining how many people are doing that. You know, people always give America's Got Talent credit for changing lives, but how many lives have they ruined for like quitting jobs for auditions? And they definitely ruined my life. My girlfriend's like, "You don't have a job? You also don't have a girlfriend." I'm like, "Well, that's horrible." So, yeah, that was Mel.
That was your Mel then. Hilarious.
She was not happy about that.
That's so funny.
Wait, so then when you auditioned again, what changed? Was it that you, first of all, did they have more of a familiarity with you when you went back that second time?
No, I had a different producer hit me up. You know, I had a different producer hit me up, and the other producer that initially found me after I got off America's Got Talent. It's funny, I seen him at the bar, and he was like drinking, and he was like, "I found you first." I was like, "Bro, hey man, I just went on." But you know, so the first one, you know, the second time, you know, they got me to audition. It was, what was the question?
No, it was just how was it different that second time?
Oh, I was just 7 years in. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was about 7 years in, turning 8 years in, and so I was just more comfortable. I had like featured, you know, a lot more. I did a few headliners, so I like even when I did the whole season, I remember at the end I was like, "Well, I don't got any more jokes," you know. I don't have any more jokes. That was it.
So if you want me here still,
Yeah. I didn't have any more jokes, so you know, so it worked out. But yeah, I was just more seasoned, so I went on at the perfect time. You know, a lot of people that get rejected, I'm like, look, man, that's probably a good thing.
yeah, I mean, I guess, but you're like, I think that show works so well for someone like you because you're such a charismatic performer. Like you've already gotten so much stronger since the time that I've like really gotten to know you, but you're just like that show. When you were on that show, it's like I cannot wait for that guy to come back. Like I could see even someone who is not in the industry, like through the lens of looking at it just as like an entertainment program, you're like, I want more of that guy. Whatever that guy says, he's funny. I just want to spend time with that person for a long amount of time. And I think, you know, when you do the show like we did, you have to look at every opportunity. Every dialogue that you have has to be an opportunity for you to really just be like, all right, let me be silly, or let me be funny, or let me be witty, or whatever it is that you can try to do, because we feel like we're just at such a disadvantage when you're standing around musicians with sets magicians with sets and musicians and all these other talents.
Yeah, it's a little. America's Got Talent was perfect for me, especially at that time, because I wasn't like, I'm not dirty.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, I have some jokes now that are kind of like, you know, touching the line, but I'm not really a dirty comedian, and I think that, you know, my jokes more, I guess, kind of universal. But I hate a lot of those performances. I hate them so much. I really hate the first one. That's like a lot of people's favorite joke, but I hate the first one. I did this impression. I just did this joke, and I was like, this about a motorcycle, and then, man, I hate this joke because.
Please do it.
I was like, how's the joke go? I said, I hate when people tell me about how it's dangerous to be on a motorcycle. And I did the impression. I was like, this girl was like, "Oh my God, my car flew 8 times. I'm lucky to be alive, blessed." And she black, by the way. And I just kind of do the joke. But I remember, like, you know, I just did the joke float. I just did it, you know. But I remember doing it online is different. And I remember, like, doing shows, and people like, "I love that joke," and then like little white kids like, "Oh my God, oh my God, my car flew every time." Like they just over the top. She black, by the way. That's my favorite joke, and I'm like, nah, I don't like. You didn't say the N-word, but I felt something, and I don't want you to do that joke. So I was like, you know, from then on, it made me conscious of what I put out there.
Yeah,
I was like, well, I can't just do, you know, because in my head, I'm doing the joke.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
Like when rappers are writing lyrics, they're not. I mean, I guess when they go to concerts and they're using the N-word, they got to be ready because they're outnumbered.
Yeah,
they're outnumbered. They're not gonna be like, "No, you can't say it, but you and you can't." No, you. Just a whole. It's like just thousands of people.
Just split the room.
Split the room. Everybody on the left side, if they know what seasoning is, and then on the right, if you feel like you have privilege, you know, I don't know, but so. You got to be ready for, you know, I just, you know, things are different, but.
It's funny that you say that you look back at your first audition and you can't watch it. I mean, can you watch anything of yours You know this about me. I can't watch anything of mine from whenever, but can you watch anything of yours like old or recent?
Yeah, I can watch it. I can watch it. I think, I don't like watching older stuff. I watch. Yeah, I just don't like watching. I was watching clips up here on the drive over, and I was like, this is annoying because I had to edit just clips of posts online, but I don't like watching older clips, especially because I thought my special was trash. I was like, this is stupid. This is a bad special. Then I rewatched it like years later, and I was like, this is pretty good.
Yeah.
I was like, this is kind of funny, man.
Yeah.
Especially at this time, from my career. But you don't like watching any of your.
No, I don't. Here's the thing. I'm just now getting to a place where, like, just the other day, I think, or no, it was a few months ago, Mel and she pulled up a clip and she was like, you used to do this joke about like wine or whatever. And she showed it to me and I was just listening to it and I was like, oh, actually that's pretty good. Like, and sometimes I think we fluctuate between this place of being like, I hate what that person did. Yeah. And then going and being like, for a totally different bit, being like, how did that person come up with that thing? Yeah. Like I sometimes, it's very rare, but like with that joke specifically, I was just like, how was I able to like come up with anything like that? And I still struggle with it, to this day. It's just, there's something that I think is so inherently like, we break ourselves down to like build it back up, to like break it back down to, it's like, and with stand up, I think it really can put a toll on you when you do that over and over
again.
You
also write a special every 2 weeks. So that's not normal. I mean, I cannot believe how much material you go through. I'm like, this is crazy, man. I'm like, I just, into my film a special, I'm like, all right, I'm excited to bomb. But like, how many specials have you came up with this year? 2?
I don't know. Two. We
or
released
3?
2. Yeah, we released 2.
You released 2.
Yeah.
But you probably shot a 3rd one already.
No.
And you're working on your 5th for some reason. I don't know what 4 came in, but you keep coming up with specials, man. I think of something. It's so funny, man. I remember when I seen you at Flappers, just working on material, and there was this bit you did about like it was about politics, and it was like it was brilliant because it was like. It wasn't like it was very universal, where it's making fun of everybody, and you did a great job. And I remember I don't know, I just never seen that on a special. So like I remember walking, I'm like, this bit is so funny, and then I just never seen it, and I'm like, where is it? Did he just waste that joke? Like, so you put out all these specials, and then you have material on top of that. You don't even put in the special. It's like Michael Jackson. When Michael Jackson came out with like 100 songs for Thriller and released 12, and it's like, what? What'd you do with the other songs? So, I don't know. It's wild. So I don't write that fast at all, But it's crazy in like London or England. They write a new hour every year. They get the open micers. Right, like a new hour every year.
Really?
It's crazy.
Wow.
They're like open micers, and they do a new hour, and they just throw it away. I'm like, what do you do with it? And they're like, nah, we just throw it away. And I'm like, that's very dumb.
Wow.
You don't try to monetize on it.
Yeah.
They're like, nah, they write a new hour, and then they throw it away, and they do another hour. Then next year, another hour. And so it's normal. Like I remember thinking about Louis C.K. Louis C.K. does it. We're like, Americans are like, oh my God, this is great. That's crazy. Because I think like if you do 2 years, I think for me, that's a perfect special.
Yeah.
I think 2 years, you let it cook and, you get it done the first year and then run it again.
Yeah,
I agree. Just to double check and then boom.
I agree. I agree with that. Because I think like right now we're on this grind and where you try to turn something out too quick and it's clear. It's obvious that it's like it's half baked.
Yeah.
What's different about the scene over there in London, like versus here? Like, what's different about like the comedy over there?
I mean, I think they're just the culture is so much different. Like when I was, it's weird. I was at a Top Secret Spot. Shout out to Top Secret Spot. They're awesome. And there was a woman from Boston. She was like, all right, how do you want me to bring you up? And I was like, he has a special on Amazon, this and this. And then she goes, okay. And I'm like, what was that? Yeah. She goes, yeah, we don't really do intros like that. And I'm like, oh, then why'd you ask me? Why would you ask me if you don't do it? Just bring me on stage. I thought that was like annoying. I thought that was super annoying. Why would you ask my intro if you don't do intros here? But they don't do it. They're just kind of just like, for them, when you do like it was on this and that, they said it's too braggadocious. So they just rather like, they kind of just like, all right, this fella's, super funny. Give him a big round of applause for it.
Yeah.
He's from the United States, whatever, Preacher Lawson.
Yeah.
So I think that they're a lot more morbid in their style of comedy.
Yeah.
It's really dark.
Yeah. I like that about it.
Me too.
The times that I've performed in London, I loved it because it's you do get to talk a little bit about America, not in a way that's like, oh, I'm here to intentionally shit on it, but it's just, you do just give it like some distance and you just get to kind of commiserate with them about some of the problems that are over there.
Yeah.
And I think you can be more irreverent. Like they're not precious about certain things like we are over here. At least, it's not, at least in the vein of if you're on stage doing stand-up, they accept that. They accept that your intention is not to be with malice or anything like that.
Absolutely. They're not, they notice, they give you breathing room for jokes.
Yeah.
Like they're like, okay, he's going to be up there and he's going to try to be funny and whatever he says, he doesn't have any ill intentions. So I like that.
Yeah.
I think that because my style of comedy, I'm not like dirty. I think people think that I don't like that style of comedy. It's like my favorite comedians. Like one of my favorite comedians is Anthony Jeselnik.
Yeah. We saw him the other night. So funny.
I know. I love him, man. He's just like, and that's his whole thing. He's like, how far
can I go?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I remember watching Tom Segura. He's another one of my favorites. And oh my gosh, it's crazy. But I remember him. I thought it was beautiful. I remember watching him at the Comedy Stories in the Belly Room, and he had a notepad on, and he was like seeing where the line was at. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
And he was just the jokes were really good. And he was like, okay, I need to word that better. And then it was just, I don't know.
You're talking about Jeselnik?
No, I'm talking about Tom Segura.
Oh, Tom. Oh, interesting. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Yeah, I mean, I love to watch people work, like our veterans. I love to watch work. Our peers, I love to watch work. It's very interesting, like the different process. I have two questions based on what we just said. The first thing is, do you intentionally go clean? Like, do you intentionally, like, you make a point to be like, no, I want to work clean?
Yeah, I think I do make an intention. I don't think that. I think if you pay attention to a lot of my jokes, you'll be like, hold on, it's not that clean. I'm just not cussing or talking about sex.
Yeah.
But I just don't.
But I don't think that much about it, though. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just mean, like, when I watch you, I don't I think good comedy it surpasses that. It's impervious to whether there's swear words or not. Like if you go back and you watch like Nate Bargatze, you have no idea. You have no idea. You're like, no, I'm
He's
almost
definitely
positive
cleaner
he
than me.
swears. No, but either way,
Yeah.
like you're like, I'm almost positive he swears.
Yeah.
Like, and I know you don't swear on stage. I know you're clean on stage. It's like I know you well, and I would even be like, I think Preacher does swear on stage. No, I guess no. And had you not
like
told
that.
me, had you not told me that you work clean and you intentionally work clean, I wouldn't even be able to know that.
Well, I don't like want someone to. I mean, I think it's great that people come to my show, and and they're like, oh, I like that I can bring my kids, but I don't want anyone controlling my style of comedy because then they can, they control me. So if I think something's funny, I want to say it, but I don't want to be offensive. I just don't. I don't like it makes me uncomfortable. Like some people like that. Some people like get in the pocket, they'll make someone feel uncomfortable, and then they get out of it. But I'm like, when I'm in the pocket there, I'm like, I am I tried it. I've tried like bits. Like when I was at your special in Oklahoma. Yeah. I remember you did a bit about Mel or whatever, and that was like dark. And I was like, what, you could do that? So I like I had a story, and I like tried to go dark, and I was like, I don't like this. I was like, this is not for me, man. I did not feel good. So I was like, I guess I can't do that, but I can't talk about that, but I do like, I just like enjoying, I enjoy all sorts of comedy, but I don't try to be. I think people describe me as clean because everyone is so, there's a lot of people that really like dark.
They're on that side.
They're
of the
on that
spectrum.
side.
You're
But it's like, I'm like
the,
PG-13,
Yeah,
but like
yeah.
I'm not PG.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a grown man, so.
What was your decision in doing that? You were just like, this is just what, or was it a decision, or you were just like, no, this is just me?
Well, I don't cuss. I didn't start cussing until 2020. You know what I mean? So I'm a little late to the game. You know, I didn't when I first, you know, Ruben. When I first met him, I wasn't cussing. He's still getting used to it. You used to it now?
You're not good at it.
Okay, well,
You're not good at it, he
Yep,
said.
that's cool. He didn't have a microphone. He didn't need
Your
to repeat it.
childhood
Like
friend said
we could
you're-
just edit out. But I am good at it. He's not used to it. I'm definitely good at cussing. People, when I start cussing around people that have never heard me talk, they never say, hold on, something weird right there. They just go along like, now, wow, he's really good at cussing. And they just go along with it. You're not used to it, bruh. That's why it's weird to you. But no, I just, when I first went on stage, I was 17 and I had one joke. It was about masturbating. It was one joke about that. And I was like, my mom came to see me and I was like, well, I can't do that joke. And I just took it out. And then she would drop me off to these spots. So I just wouldn't do it. And then I was like, I don't think I want to talk about that. And I don't know. I just kind of like, I don't know. I just start doing like, I guess, you know, racier material until recently. But I mean, it's still not like, I don't know. I just don't like, I'll never probably talk about sex on stage. I just think that's, you know,
Yeah.
that's my jam.
When you say like you saw a joke that someone do and you're like, oh man, I'm gonna try something like this, or I'm inspired to come up with something that's like in that same vein or that same style. Are there still to this day times where you venture out from what preacher usually does, what that preacher process is that you usually have in your approach, and you're like, you know what, I want to try something different. I want to do this.
Absolutely. I think that's the only way you grow. I don't want to ever be stuck inside of a box. And I don't know what the future holds, but I remember seeing a bit by Tom Rhodes. He definitely encouraged me with his writing. He did a bit about how he just did an emotional bit how his birthday was ruined by this girl he dated. And it was a sad bit. I remember people were like crying in the audience.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Wow,
I remember
I've
I was
never
like,
heard that.
I was like, that's kind of weird. Why would you make people cry? And then he brought it back, and then they laughed. And I remember this comedian before him. I mean, some dude, he's slaughtered, but you can tell he's like trying to be as funny as possible. So he was like, "Gah, gah, 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 gah." Everybody was laughing. I don't remember any of his jokes,
Wow.
but I do remember how Tom Rhodes made me feel. So I was like, oh, that's beautiful. And so I decided from then I wanted to write a bit that was, because I had a story, but I was like, this is not funny, it's sad. And then when I seen that, I was like, oh, I could tell sad. And so I wrote a joke about something that was sad, and it was good. I think it was good.
I think I agree with you. I think it's important to see what other people can do, because then it is inspiring. It is inspiring to be like, oh, that, like, I didn't know that was an option, but I guess that seeing that someone else do that, it kind of makes me feel better about venturing or trying to apply whatever it was that they did to whatever it is I'm currently going through.
Do you get like inspired by younger comedians?
I guess. I mean,
Even like a TikToker, someone that's like not a comedian, but they do, I don't know.
yeah. I mean, I don't rule out anybody, because I think everybody has a different perspective. And if someone comes from, online or content creating, and then they ventured or made their way over to stand up, like, that's cool. I mean, I know people get shit on for coming from there and not starting out as actual stand-ups, but we're all stand-ups who produce content, and then there's content creators who are trying to produce stand-up. But I mean, they have a different lens with how they're coming into this experience. So I look at every single person that I see who's coming on stage as like, what is it that I can learn? I'm such a student of it, and I think that's just because I never really wanted to do it. I always just admired it and appreciate it. I love having people I admire and who I'm fans of and friends with on the show, because I genuinely am such a student of their process and their journey.
Yeah, that bothers me. Not what you just said, but there was a part where you said, you know how people like transition to being a comedian,
Yeah.
and they do something else, and they start doing stand up, and people start trashing them, and they're like they're not a comedian. I think those people are miserable.
Yeah, of course.
I think they're just miserable,
Of
and
course.
they're just unhappy, you know, with where they're at in their career. That's like when you'll talk to some comedians, and they're like shook, you know, and they're like, oh, I love your comedy, and blah blah blah, and it'll slip out them doing comedy. And it's like, oh snap, you're a comedian. They're like, oh, not really. Have you been on stage? Yeah, I've been on stage for like, you know, a couple times. What's a couple times? A year? You're a comedian.
You're a comedian. Yeah.
You're a comedian.
Yeah.
You can go on stage for a month. You're a comedian. You're just a new comedian.
Sure.
You got these people that are like stuck in their, you know, cities, and they haven't progressed, and their career hasn't proliferated because I don't know whatever reason, and they're upset, so they create this fake hierarchy where it's like, in order for you to be a comedian, I remember that happening when I first started. You know, you're a comic if you do this, but if you're a comedian, that's the same thing.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, 100%.
You can't be like, you're a male if you do this, but a Melanie.
Yeah.
If you're right, that's just a
100%.
nickname. Comic is a nickname for, you know.
Yeah.
So I just think that it was a callback earlier. We was talking about her name, but so I just that really bothers me when, you know, comedians feel like they don't want to they can't say they're a comedian or something until like they do something special. And it's like, I think the most special thing in the world is like for a comedian just to go on stage. I think it's terrifying.
Yeah.
I was terrified the first time I went on stage.
How'd
So
you do your first time?
I thought I did great, but I didn't do that well. I mean, I got 2 laughs. I got one big laugh because I screamed like a girl, and I was able to hit that note, you
There
know?
you go.
And people were like, wow, that man hit that note, and it was funny. And then I got another laugh. So I got like 2 laughs in a 5-minute set, and that's all I needed. I was like, oh, you know.
Yeah.
What about you?
I remember the first time I went up because I went up on stage prior to my injury, and I didn't I was just whatever. I was just messing around, and I don't remember much about it. But I remember I went up after my injury, and it was still fresh. It was like, I don't know, it happened like a month and a half before I went on stage, and it was at an open mic, and I just remember talking about it, and I remember that the comedians, there wasn't a lot of laughs, but I remember the comedians who had already heard about what had happened to me I just feel like there was just it was emotion that was in the room for sure. So I don't know that it was like, oh, this was such a super funny set, but I think it was very much like there's empathy that was happening.
I wonder what that felt like for them, you know, for the see that, because you know it's kind of it was like a comedian like game, right?
Yeah, I mean it was wait, how do you mean like a comedian game?
I thought it was like comics that got together.
Oh yeah, a softball game. Yeah,
Yeah.
Softball game at the comedy club that I worked at Flappers.
Yeah.
So
Oh my gosh!
It was-
So they seen it, and then
yeah.
wow.
And there were, but most people who just knew me I just worked the door. Like I
Yeah.
just worked the door there, and I was like, you know, I was here to do acting, and I was here to do that and have like a night job, and like I said, I loved being around stand up. I loved that, but I was never like, oh, let me just have this be what I want to do.
Yeah.
You know, do you think that that particular stigma or that hierarchy that you're talking about that a lot of comedians break down? I felt a lot of that coming off of America's Got Talent, and I wanted to see if you felt that way, if you had anybody who said anything about like, oh, well, he's an AGT comedian, or that's a, you know, I remember when I did the show, it was like Last Comic Stand. If you did Last Comic Standing, you were a comic, but if you did America's Got Talent, you were like whatever, a story or some shit.
I remember working in LA Fitness, and this is before I got, you know, on America's Got Talent the year before. And I just remember just people in general talking about America's Got Talent comedians like they're not. They just don't think that. I don't know. Now it's like, it's, you know, not every comedian is trying to go on it because the social media.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of like, you know, it's a Tonight Show set. You know, it's maybe a little different, but yeah, they always hit me with the, I'm not a comedian. You know, they didn't tell me that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
would,
you hear
know,
it,
yeah, I would hear that, you know, he's an AGT comedian, or he has to do this style of comedy or this and that. And it's funny because my style was the only style, I feel, on America's Got Talent where I didn't have to change that much. Everyone else, like I would watch their bits and I'm like, that's not how it goes.
Yeah.
And it would ruin their bit.
Yeah.
For me, I didn't have to change a whole bunch, but I remember like Jackie Fabulous. Like I remember her doing a bit and I know they made her switch words up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't think they realize how funny words are. Like you need those words.
Yeah.
And
there's a reason.
Yeah.
Behind those words.
Exactly. And so it'll ruin the bit. So but yeah, I don't, for me, I mean that happened, but I do feel like I was more prepared for like people talking trash about me. You know, I don't think that a lot of people, I don't feel like I got a lot of hate, but I feel like you know, there were people that said certain things about AGT comedians not being real comedians, but I've never heard that from someone that was winning. You know, like I never heard someone like doing well and they're not. It's always like someone, like I remember another comedian, I'm not gonna name it.
Of course.
I remember them trashing me. I remember, you know, I was in the same comedy club and I was around them and I heard them talking about me. And they've always been kind of rude to me. And I just was like, all right, whatever. I don't, you know, whatever is fine. This is before America's Got Talent. Then I got on AGT and they were still kind of, you know, a little rude to me. And then they kind of blew up. And then when I see them now, they're so nice. I think they're more upset of where they're at.
Yeah.
They're not upset at me.
Yeah.
You know, they're not mad at me. So, because they're so nice now.
Yeah.
But they're doing really well. So.
It just changes.
Yeah, I think
it's like that age-old rule where it's just like, of course, it has everything to do with the person saying it, you know, and not about the person that they're talking about or the subject. And I think that's what's really hard. Like you're someone who, you know, you're always so positive. Like you know, you and I have had conversations where I'll throw out an idea and I usually get pretty negative on it pretty soon. And you're like, well, no, just do that thing. You know, just go do that thing. And I've always really admired that sort of like, I think like, you know, you've always been someone who you're the way you are off stage and then you go right on stage and you're that way and then you come off stage and you're, you know, I mean, that's been like, you can't be that way all the time, but you do have lots of energy when you're on stage. And I think that comes from the lifeblood of that is your positivity. It's your, you know, it's like, of course that it's infectious, and you being on a platform like America's Got Talent, like it's showcasing all of that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I feel like I'm pretty lucky in life. You know, I definitely could be negative sometimes, but I try to stay in the house. You know, if I'm negative. But
what's your process for like a new thing that you're coming up with or that you're working on? What's your approach to a new joke?
So the way I approach new jokes, I've been doing this a long time. I'll like have an idea, and then I'll say it to someone that does not know me.
Really?
And I'll do the bits that way.
What, like an Uber driver?
Like an Uber driver.
Really?
Like a cashier at Walgreens. Like I'll say the bit, you know. I mean, of course I run it by people, but I think the best way is to say the bit to a normal person and see how they react. Because I want my bits to be, I don't want it to seem like I'm doing a joke. You know, I know I'm on stage and it's going to seem like I'm doing a joke, but I want it to be more like I'm conversing. So I try to just slip it in there, and then and it forces me to make it more conversational. So
wow.
And then sometimes they'll give tags. They don't even know. They're like, yeah, like this. And I'm like, yeah. What else are you thinking? What else? You know, so I'll do that, you know, or I'll just run the bits by my friends.
Yeah.
And or I'll I don't tell I'll just go on stage and I'll just talk it out. You know, but I don't write as much as I should. I know you write like a psycho.
You don't sit down and like, do you write laptop or do you write on?
If I have a bit about shoelaces, I'm gonna put shoelaces, and that's it. You know,
and now you have a bit about shoelaces.
Unless I have to remember bullet points, then I'll write the whole thing out. But I'm like, this is annoying. The whole time I'm doing it, I'm like, this is annoying, man. But I'm gonna do it.
That's future preacher's problem.
Yeah. So, but I know you your writing process. Like, as soon as you think of a bit, you just write the whole bit out.
I try to. I mean, I write as much as I can. What's so funny?
Why are you laughing?
Why are you laughing?
Why are you laughing?
What's happening? Why are you laughing? What's so funny
Is that
about
like
you
a
right
condescending laugh?
Yeah.
Or is that like
You laughing
that's
at our
really
processes
funny?
right now?
Laughing at the process?
It's just 3 in the morning. I'm asleep, and I hear.
yeah,
I'm like, oh, it's raccoons. And she's like, no, it's Drew typing. And then I go and I look, and then Drew's like, okay, so is this funny?
Yeah, I think Mel's my first. Mel's usually my first person, but I think it's so smart to work on a stranger. That's so good.
I just do. I used to do that when I didn't have. Well, what happened was this is where I got the idea is I would go to open mics in L.A. and I wouldn't get stage time, so I would go to all these places and not get stage time. So just in case I didn't get stage time, I'd be in an Uber pool. Trying to save money. And then I would try it out. One time I did a bit and it bombed so hard and it was full. And they were like, and we were talking about while we're in LA. And then I remember it bombed. And then they were like, yeah, so what do you do in LA? I was like, I work at LA Fitness. I'm a trainer. They're like, that's it? That's it. It bombed so bad. I was like, I am not telling them I'm a comedian.
On flights, do you tell people that you're a comedian?
I don't tell. I would say most of the time I don't tell people I'm a comedian.
Definitely not.
I would say, there's a girl I like, and she's like, "What do you do?" I was like, "I work in entertainment." You're like, "What kind?" I'm like camera stuff. Like I don't like telling people because you know what's coming next.
Camera
You know what's coming next. I'm a comedian. Oh well, you a comedian? Tell me a joke.
Yeah.
Make me laugh. It's like, bro, I've heard that before.
Yeah.
I mean, so I'll lie. I'll be like, I do camera stuff.
It's so funny that you try jokes on strangers without them knowing you're a comedian, but once they know you're a comedian, you're like, I can't work something on you right now.
Yeah, no, I can't.
The veil is lifted.
Yeah, I can't, because then they know I'm doing. What I mean?
Yeah.
So
I think that's what's so hard about what we do. It's because the implication is that we're going on stage to make you laugh.
Yeah.
Like, so especially in LA, like you just feel this, it's not coldness. It's just, it's a little bit like an audition. It's just a little bit like an audition. And
are you really funny? Because my cousin's Jamie Foxx. It's like, oh, okay. I know everybody. So let's see. I know real funny. So yeah, they know everybody. So. Oh. LA is LA.
LA is LA. Do you feel like you can work here, or do you feel like you have to you have to audition, you have to do well? Because I am still sometimes feeling like, oh God, like I have to work on this thing, but I also feel like there's people here who maybe need me to do some better version of what it is that I'm doing now.
Yeah, I feel both of those. I feel like I always want to do well.
Yeah.
And, there's some people that they're like, yeah, bombing does not affect me. It affects me, bro. Mm-hmm. I'm 14 years in. If I bomb, I'm like, I should have went to school. You know, like that's, I know I don't need to do that. Like I'm already proven, but I will bomb. I bombed this was not a good feeling. I bombed like 2 weeks ago so bad. I'm supposed to be filming my special the next week. And I bombed so bad, I was like, and it was with material that I had refined. It was material I refined. I was like, oh, I got it. This is perfect. And I went up there with my A material, hitting them. And then they were oh, man. Have you ever seen, like, people walking out? And you're like, hold on, wait for me.
Wait, me first.
Let me, because I also want to leave. But yeah, I mean, I always want to do well, but I am okay with. I mean, I understand bombing is a part of the process, so I don't feel the pressure to like. I mean, I do feel the pressure, but if I need to work on a new bit, then,
it has to happen.
Yeah, I'll even say that to like relieve some of the pressure. Hey, this is new stuff.
Yeah,
normally I'm hilarious.
Yeah.
This is just me.
What about, where was this 2 weeks ago? What was
it was my show. My show, my audience. That's the issue. It wasn't like a random pop-up where it's like, who's this preacher guy? They were like, we can't wait to see you. And then they see me, they were like, no. So that's what really hurt me. But it was in North Carolina, one of the best rooms in the U.S., I think in the world. It was one of the best. I think it was like
Good Nights?
Yeah, was it Good Nights? It was in Charlotte. Sorry, Charlotte.
Comedy Zone?
Comedy Zone, yeah.
It's a good room.
It's a great room. So how do you think I was feeling?
It was a good room.
It was a good room. Apparently, they switched to the dark side.
In the middle of your show.
I know, in the middle of in the
beginning.
In the beginning of my show.
Old and New Testament.
You ever like bomb in the beginning? You're like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna get you with this. That was the whole show. Well, I'm gonna get you with this. Okay, I'm gonna get you with this. And then you get to the point where you're like, well, I guess I'm not gonna get you. So you just stop giving energy. Like, I'm not gonna be sweating up here for you.
Wow.
So
that's wild. It was not that. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
There's no way it was that.
Okay.
There's just no way.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of people had to pee outside and they never came back. They couldn't find the stage room anymore. So that's probably it. I bombed. It is what it is. It's okay. I still think I'm funny. I still want to live. I didn't at the time. I wanted to. They were trying to get out the room. I was trying to get out of life. I was like, I need to get out of here, man.
What happened? Wait, so what happened then? Or did you? Okay, when you have a bomb, what do you do? Like, how do you come back? What do you do?
What do I do now? Afterwards, I just went and did some hookah.
Yeah,
I did some hookah.
that's always a good
Didn't
feeling.
work.
Now.
And I was like, I just don't want to feel. I want to feel something else. And I did some hookah. Man,
Which is so funny. Hookah strikes me as something that people do when they feel good about themselves. Like, hookah's
really?
such a.
This is how I knew I bombed. And you know this phrase. People know it. Someone came up to me after the show and said, I thought you were funny.
I thought you were funny.
Bruh. You know what I mean? That's how I knew. They were like, I thought you were funny.
Emphasis on the I.
I.
You could just say, I thought you were funny.
Yeah.
Actually, there's almost no way you could say that sentence.
Can I tell you how bad I bombed? Let me just tell you because I was sitting out in the front, and I have different hairstyles, so some people don't recognize me. So I was sitting out in the front, and I was just kind of chilling with the the bouncer, and people were just walking in. I wasn't faced the way they were walking. They couldn't see my face, so I was just chilling right here, and I just wanted to chill outside. I just wanted to chill.
Ooh.
And then no, this is before the show.
Oh, okay.
So people are walking in, and the bouncer, this dude's so annoying. He goes, "Y'all ain't gonna say hi to Preacher Lawson?" And it's like 5 women.
Please don't do that.
Bruh.
Please don't do that.
And this is before the show. I'm just trying to chill and breathe. I don't like being in the green room. I hate being in the green room. I just need to breathe a little bit. So that's why I was outside. And so they would turn around. Oh my gosh, Preacher Lawson. And I said, immediately to the bouncer, I said, what are you doing? He goes, oh, I'm sorry. I said, no, what are you doing? And then as they're walking over, I didn't like pull them to the side. I was so mad in front of everybody. I was like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
And so they sat down. Oh my gosh, like they're trying. A couple girls trying to flirt with me, and there was like, oh man, you're great, and I watch you this and that, and you should talk to my friend. And it was like this whole thing, and I was like, man, I was trying to be nice, and then they talked to me for like 10 minutes, and they went inside. I went on stage, and they left during my show.
Wow.
That's how bad I was doing.
Wow.
But to be fair, half of them were wasted. So
yeah.
they were like wasted. But I seen them walking out.
Dude, I would be so.
I was like, they were so pumped before the show that they were trying to hook me up with a friend and doing all this extra stuff. And I was like, please leave me alone. Yeah. And then they left me alone. They left me alone. And I was like, you guys are leaving me alone? And it was the craziest. It was not a good set. But it's all good.
Do you remember why? Like, was it just one particular bit and everything just
First
turned,
off, they sat the room up so stupid.
Yeah.
It was really dumb. They had people in pockets, right? Then they had they just had people in pockets. It wasn't sold out. And then there was like a back row where it was missing. And then there was another row and then there was people behind that.
No.
It's like, no, just put them together.
Yeah.
Cause so people don't feel weird.
Yeah.
Like laughing. So there was people like in isolated tables. I don't know. It was So it was a weird. It was sat weird, and I think I had just like. I want to say like I was just exhausted. I was exhausted, and then it just wasn't my night. It was a combination of things, but I just had a bad night.
Yeah, but I mean that happens. But I think I would have been just so pissed about at the the bouncer saying
Bro.
that. It's just, you work at a club.
Yeah.
Like, there are comedians coming in and out of this place all the time.
Yeah.
Who no one, that's uncouth everywhere.
Yeah.
For every person. No one wants that.
Yeah.
It's
wild. I was like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah.
I was so upset. And it's like when you're around like fans, I don't know how you feel about this, but me personally, I feel like it's not a full on, but you almost still gotta have like a performance.
Yeah, 100%.
You gotta like when you're doing a meet and greet, that's an extra
100%
performance.
100%.
When you're around fan, and that it takes energy, bro.
Yeah.
Like it takes energy. You don't want to just be like, because really, how I really felt when they sat down, I wanted to be like, please just leave me alone.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that.
Yeah.
But then you say, please leave me alone, and then
You're
you're
that guy.
you're mean,
Yeah.
you're that guy. Oh man, I tried to meet him, and he wouldn't even do anything, and I tried to say hi, and so I was like, I don't want to do that, because they did pay. They put money in my pocket to come see me perform, and so I do appreciate fans, but I just try to take, I try to pick my pockets,
100%.
of time where I can use that energy. So when I was sitting down and I was chilling, I was like, I don't want to be in agreement. I just kind of want to relax before the show. I was even, I was just chilling, and then he was trying to be funny. Y'all gonna walk past?
Yeah.
I was like, bruh, like, you kidding me?
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard. I mean, it's hard because.
Has someone ever done something like that to you?
I mean, I think when you work at a venue like this, like, I don't think they understand the demand that comes with the territory that we're in.
Yeah.
And it's hard because this is going to sound so like first class problems, but it's first world problems, but it truly is just like if you happen to be just at a time where you're slightly not on, or where you're just like, I just need to take a second to just rejuvenate for a second. But if that doesn't align, or if that doesn't time well with when someone else's energy is here, or they're here right now, and the demands of what they want, you are required. You're almost required.
Yeah.
You become the person who is submissive to that moment, to whatever the demands of that person is. That's what we signed up for whatever reason. Because if you say something like, just as if I were to look you in the eyes and say, listen, I'm just chilling just before my show. I'm exhausted, and I'm just going to take a second right here. I would love for you to enjoy the show or whatever, but for me, I'm just going to get in my space right now. Even something as polite as that,
was very polite.
even if something as polite as that, someone might say like, yeah, but he was like super weird before the show. We hear it all the time. And it's like 20 years ago, before the internet or whatever, those stories, maybe they were shared at family events or fucking whatever, but now we've got the internet where someone can immediately say that. And it's just like, no, like, if you know you like I know you, or if you know me like you know me, we're good people. When we meet these people, we're human beings.
Yeah.
But at the same time, someone like a bouncer who works at a club, or like, they only see maybe just the glamour of it, not really truly the grind of, like, you have no idea where I was the day before. You have no idea what I've done. Yeah.
Yeah, what happened if you would text me, you might have got a call.
100%.
Someone, you might be like, I remember I was on my YouTube channel, and I posted a video, and there was like, I was looking at the comments, and one of the comments, they were talking about how I went to his comedy show, and it wasn't that good or whatever. And we took pictures afterwards. You could tell he didn't want to take pictures. He was just doing it because he had to. And I was like, that's wild. Do you think I have to? Like, I don't have to take pictures.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't. Like, I don't know if you go to comedy clubs and you notice that, they always tell you, they're like, man, they just stay in the room.
Yeah. Yeah.
People there's a lot of comedians that stay in, and I get it.
I get it now.
I get it, And I remember the show she was talking about, and I was just exhausted.
Yeah.
I was just so tired that when I was taking the pictures, I was like barely smiling.
Yeah.
And I was like, it just takes like so much energy. And I hear what you're saying, because when it sounds like first world problems, because when I was broke and I didn't have any money, anybody with money that complained, I'm like, shut up.
Yeah.
You got air conditioning.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to hear you complain.
Yeah.
But it's like, you're not in that position as far as like, I would never trade this. I have the best job in the world, but it is a job.
It comes, yeah,
It's
yeah.
this
It does
like,
come with those. It does come with those times, those
Yeah.
days where you're just like think about like if I were to be true to who I am all the time when I meet people,
Yeah.
I wouldn't smile. I don't smile in photos. Like and oftentimes when I talk to people or when I talk to friends or when I talk to Mel, like I don't smile. I'm not a smiler. I'm a listener and I'm a human being, but because I think we're under the filter or seen through the lens as a comedian or a funny person or entertainer, whatever,
Yeah.
it's almost like like I said, you have to be you have to submit to that moment that it doesn't matter how you feel. You have to be whatever that thing is. The pressure to be that thing, that job or that energy, that demand of that far supersedes whatever you're feeling, because truthfully, if I were to do a meet and greet where I didn't smile and I just had a conversation with people, I would have maybe 80% more energy because
Yeah.
there wouldn't be anything that's necessarily put on. And by the way, that's not me saying I'm not excited to meet you. I am.
Yeah.
It's a factory. You're just
Yeah.
like, you're just over and over and over and over. And you want to say like, listen, I have so much gratitude, but at the same time, I'm just spent right now.
Yeah.
Like my cheeks can't even, I
it
can't
hurts.
even do the thing, man.
And to add to that, I love smiling.
Yeah.
Like I'm a huge, I love smiling. I love meeting new people. I'm definitely an extrovert. You're clearly an introvert, So I love that. But even me loving smiling and loving meeting new people and all this stuff is exhausting.
Yeah.
It's still exhausting. Your jaw hurts after, and like, you just like your mouth it's crazy. So, I mean, and I enjoyed the same way I enjoyed like, I love meeting people and I love like taking pictures and like, people they'll tell you things. I watch you since, this is my second time, my third time,
Yeah.
my fourth time, my fifth, this is my sixth time watching. That feels like, oh
amazing.
my gosh.
It's crazy.
Like, it feels good that it's like, thank you so much for like supporting my career this far. And it does mean so much, but it's exhausting, So,
And it's crazy because you're always the example that comes to my brain when someone asks me, like, if it's an audience member or like if it's a person after a show, or if it's someone at the clubs or someone who's trying to get into comedy. People ask, they'll be like, are most comedians like introverts or most comedians extroverts? And I'll be like, there's both. I was
Yeah.
like, there's literally both. I was like, I'm very introverted. It's difficult for me sometimes, but I was like, like there's extroverts out there who like Preacher is an extrovert, and he's someone who literally like he's like the energy and the life of every single room, but even he sometimes gets tired.
yeah.
You know?
And if someone knows me, I don't want to hang out with you. I don't, man. Like if someone recognizes me, like, oh, let me get a picture. I'll take a picture and I'll talk to him for a second. I'm out. I can't hang out. You know what I mean? Because it's just like it's if someone recognizes me and they're like, oh, you're the guy from the. I think that's different. But if someone's like a fan, I can't be around a fan.
Why do you think that is?
I feel like because it'd be draining because I think they have this idea of me. It's the same reason they have this idea of me, and it's like I'm gonna disappoint you.
Yeah. No matter what.
Yeah, no matter what. So
you can't. You could jump in the air and rip off your
Yeah.
belt or whatever and
Yeah.
do a titty dance, and people would be like, "That was amazing." But then at the end, he didn't smile like how he usually did.
Yeah, exactly. So I remember like during like I went through this phase where I wanted to be a different style of comedian. I don't know, people I just like thing got in my head and I just try to switch things up. And I remember I was like this is like after like 2020 I started drinking alcohol, and I started like I don't know, I had like fake tattoos, and I was like, I'm gonna get an earring and I'm gonna get a real tattoo, and I'm gonna get a piercing or whatever. And
Wait,
I remember,
you had fake tattoos?
I like fake tattoos. I was trying it out because I was like, I want a real tattoo. Let me see what it looks like with a fake tattoo. So I put a fake tattoo on, and I remember like someone saying like, that's not who you are, Preacher. And that just made me want to go the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Cause like you don't know.
Yeah.
You just going off of what, you don't
100%.
know who I am.
Yeah.
I mean, you know who I am. Cause if you see me, if you see everything I ever put on social media, you got about 75% of who, you know what I mean? And you got a big chunk.
Yeah.
Cause that is who I am.
Yeah.
But you don't know the other 25. You know, so like I don't like that. I just don't want to disappoint anyone.
100%.
I don't want to disappoint a fan or nothing like. And I just feel like it's kind of like I feel like dating. And if I'm talking to a girl through text message, I have to like set up a time for the date, for the dinner or whatever, and then just stop talking. But if I keep texting, I'm gonna ruin it. You know, like I gotta slow. You know, I gotta be like, hey, you want to meet Thursday? Cool, I'll see you then. You know, but I can't keep texting, or I'm gonna say something. She's gonna be like, what? That's stupid. I never want to see you again. And I'm like, we haven't seen you. Hold on. I think we've been texting too much.
We had
you
the
know,
thing.
like, yeah.
Damn.
So.
Well, do you think, what's the expectation that you had coming into comedy that for sure is different knowing that you're 14 years in now?
Wow, that's a good question right there. I just, you know, I don't know. Like, I'm pretty happy. You know, I'm pretty happy. I feel lucky. I felt lucky as a kid. I feel lucky my whole entire life. I just don't feel like I had a bad life. I don't even feel like I had an okay life. I feel like I'm just lucky my entire life. But I would say the only thing I can think of is money does, it's corny. Money doesn't make you happy.
Sure.
So it does make it better.
Sure.
It for sure makes it better. It's always great having money.
Yeah.
You know, but whatever you're trying to fix, it's not going to be fixed. I mean, there's a reason that people that have money kill themselves at a higher rate than people that are broke. Because then they get the money and they're like, oh wait.
Yeah.
That's it.
I arrived and it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't the party.
Yeah. So that's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, the reason I ask is just because I do think that I had more joy for comedy and I just had joy and genuinely the laughter that I had felt like it just had more meaning because it was like the idea of pursuing comedy or doing it or breaking it down to a science all the time wasn't constantly there. So it's the same example as like with money. It's like when you do it so often, or you know where it comes from, or you know like why it was said or how or anything like that, you're almost just like, okay, well, I know too much now. You know, it's like,
for sure.
It's like
yeah.
And it's like, even when you go see movies now, it's like, maybe they're not as good as they were, however long ago. But at the same time, I think we've changed. I think it's just,
for sure.
You used to find something funny that you wouldn't otherwise now. And that's hard. That's hard.
Yeah, it's hard watching comedians you thought were really funny when you first started, and then you watch them again.
Yeah.
You're like, I was laughing at this.
Yeah, it's wild.
That's my fear. That's my fear is somebody's going to think that about me. Somebody's going to watch my set again 10 years from now and be like, this is what I was laughing at? Like, I'm so terrified of that because I'll do that with other people. And I'm like, man, I remember tears. I mean, there's people I can watch and I'll still laugh. I mean, that's most. But, I do think that we ruined comedy a little bit for ourselves. We ruined it a little bit,
Yeah, it's just such a cerebral thing, and I think that's why if you're viewing something as just like as a person or as a spectator to it, you are just enjoying it as a human being. There's nothing that's engaging about your brain. You're not immediately going into your like primal place of being like, how do I break this down and what does this mean?
Yeah.
How do I apply this to?
So you're saying you enjoyed comedy more when you first
prior to doing it.
Yeah.
100%. Because now once your brain is involved, then your brain is saying like, okay, but how does that apply to this? Why does this do that? And that time becomes shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter for when you even appreciate it. So even when you hear it, you immediately just go, okay, yeah,
set up punchline, tag,
okay, yeah,
callback.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So how long was that in before you stopped enjoying it as much? Probably
because I did America's Got Talent when I was 4 years in.
Wild.
Yeah, 4 years in. I mean, that would have been the first time that, because you were 4 years in and you got on the first time that you went on. The first time that you auditioned.
Yeah.
And I even felt like by the end of pretty much the end of the run, I was kind of like, all right, Like, that's about all the clean material that I have,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? But I think that's a big criticism that I get, is people who watch me on that show have maybe still tried to see me as that same person that has that sort of youth, that same sort
Yeah.
of young energy. And I think just before then, maybe 2014, 2013, maybe a year or two before then is when I was kind of like, oh, like there's still so much more to be gained and learned from comedy and things that I still appreciate, but it just became quicker and quicker and quicker. It's like that movie Click, where it's like he keeps using the remote to just get past the moment.
Yeah.
Literally, that's pretty much what I think I've done with stand-up and with jokes. It's just I first of all, I appreciate the hell out of the science of it. I love
Yeah.
it. I'm such a technician when it comes to why that word, why those, like editing, word economy, all of those things. I love it. But at the same time, it really takes the joy out of,
For
like,
sure.
you know, it's like I don't know, someone, I can't think of an example. It's like dealing coke and being like, but I can't do it anymore, you know, or whatever. It's probably exactly like that. AGT is just like cocaine. It's just like.
Oh my god. Oh man.
But you know, I
I
mean-
do know. I do know. I remember like working in like movies, and I'm working in movies or like doing like TV shows, and it's definitely not to that extent, but it ruins it a little bit.
Yeah.
That's what I don't like. I don't look up how they do magic tricks. I
Yeah.
enjoy the magic.
Yeah.
And I'm like, good.
Yeah.
You know, I used to one of my best friends. He was a magician, and he still probably would be one. He died. He got shot, which is not funny. And he, it's all good. He did. He would not show me. He would do a trick, and he wouldn't show me how he did it.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't ask how the trick was because I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
We went on tour together.
Wow.
And I never asked him, how you take $1? How's a dollar get inside the orange?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Well, I would never ask. I would never ask because, you know, it would be ruined. But also, I have such an appreciation for their art form as well, where you're just like, I respect it so much that I would feel so dirty being like, how do you do it though? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It feels so weird.
I think the how do you do it though is let me get a joke.
Yeah.
So it happens
Same.
a lot.
It's the same.
He would say the same thing. He'd be like, can you keep it secret? They're like, yeah. He's like, me too. He would always do that. I was like, that's great. That's great.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, what is it? I always ask this every time I have somebody on. Isaac, what are we at right now?
102.
Thank you, sir.
That was pretty good.
It's Ruben, times fly when you're having fun, right? Or whatever you're doing. I would say every time I have somebody on, I always ask them about a time that they bet on themselves and it like they doubled down and it paid off or it backfired. Do you know of a time that comes to mind? I mean, it's easy to say, it's easy to come up with something like America's Got Talent because of our starts, but I just mean like if there was a specific time, one that was pivotal for you where you were just like, oh man, like this was absolutely not right, or I'm so glad that I stuck with this and it really paid out.
Man, I would say that the majority of time, I can't think of a time where I bet on myself and I didn't do well.
Wow.
I think into my go in, I think it happens.
Wow.
And I really believe that with anybody that I remember I was at Sarasota Comedy Club. There was some comedian that was on Last Comic Stand. I can't remember his name, but I remember him telling me, he's like, the bus stops for everyone. You know, the bus stops for everyone. It's just, are you ready or not? But if you work hard enough, it just happens. So I really do believe that. I think if you work hard enough, you know, it does happen. You know, it's like seeing a shooting star. It's like you're very lucky to see a shooting star, but if you're always outside, the chances of you seeing it just goes higher.
Wow. So does that, I mean, is that part of your, just like your mental and stability, like the confidence that you have in yourself? You've always had that?
I think that I didn't always have that. I think I had that when I developed it the year before I moved out to LA, but I I just realized I was like, man, I've always had my my foot on that security blanket, you know, and I was like, let me take it off. I was like, I think I'm funny enough. And then when I took it off, everything happened. So like anytime, you know, when I don't know if people tell you this, but I hear it a lot. With like, you should be doing this, you should be doing that, you should be here, you should be here, and I'm like, I should be where I'm at.
Wow.
You know, I really believe I'm at because of me.
Yeah.
You know, anything I done, anything that's bad that's happened is my fault. Anything that's good that happened is my fault. You know, I really feel like I can control wherever I want to be in my career. I really believe that. So I don't think it's like I should be where I'm at because that's, you know. But I remember when I was in Florida. I'm trying to speed past the story, but I was in Florida and I remember some comedian talking to me. And he's like, what are you doing in Florida? And I was like, oh, I'm just doing stand-up. He's like, no, what are you featuring here for? Like, why are you featuring? You should be in like LA or New York. And I was like, well, no, I was scared. I was like, oh, no, I don't need to be in any of those major cities. I can make it in Florida. And he goes, how old are you? And I was like, I'm 24. He's like, man. He didn't say man. It was two black men talking. And he goes, brother. He's like, you can stab somebody, go to jail, get out, still be younger than me. And I'm trying. And I was like, wow. That's the first analogy you thought of, was stab somebody. But you're right. I should try it. So I decided I was going to try it. So that time I bet on myself. I saved up a bunch of money and moved to LA. And when I, fast forward a bunch of whatever, I wrote down 12 things that I wanted to do in 6 months. I was like, get a job, quit that job in 6 months, get transportation, have a place to stay, and, be headlining, blah, 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 and get paid comedy full time, So I remember working at LA Fitness for like 6 months. And I remember I kept canceling gigs because I had to work. And I was like, that's not why I came to LA. And I just quit. And they were like, why? I was like, I just can't do this anymore. I'm supposed to be doing comedy. And so I didn't have a backup plan.
Yeah.
But I knew my plan was to make it as a comedian. So things worked out. I went on people always, of course, they're going to mention America's Got Talent, but I did the Big Sky Comedy Festival. That was pretty good. A bunch of industry were there. I did like the Seattle International Comedy Competition, and I ended up winning that. So that was really helpful in my career. I met management after that. I mean, it gave me some money. I did Carson Daly's show, and that was my first TV credit. And that was awesome. And then I did a couple other things, and I did America's Got Talent. So it ended up working out.
Yeah.
But I didn't have a job after that. Yeah. And I just quit, and I was like, all right, let me just try to, make a way, and I made a way.
Do you have something every day that you do for your mental health? Like that you're like,
oh, for sure.
What is it that you do?
I gotta go to the gym.
Yeah.
That's my meditation right there. I should meditate too, and I off and on do. But me going to the gym, it's really hard to think of anything else when you're in pain. Like going to the gym, it's crazy. People think about like working out is like fun. It sucks. Like it just sucks. But it's so painful when you're working out. You can't think of anything else.
Yeah.
Like that's why anytime I go through a breakup, I am shred city, bruh. You don't even hug me unless you plan on bleeding, bruh. I'm like crazy because I'm like, if I'm working out, I can't think about how broken I am. But I have to work. I have to go to the gym.
Yeah.
I have to do some type of workout. And I have to do something productive. That's why I don't like vacations.
Definitely not.
I feel like you don't like vacations?
Nope.
Really?
Nope. I don't like vacations.
You go on you go on vacations.
I hate them. I go on vacations because my wife.
That's the only reason I go on vacations because a girl.
Yeah. 100%.
She told me, bro, I'm so like depressed.
I would not go on.
I hate vacations.
No, because then you have to come back and pick up
and
everything.
You're behind.
Yeah. I took time away from doing what I was going to do.
I thought you liked him because I was like, this man, every year you go on a vacation. No. I do think breaks are good, but like a break is like me playing a video game. Like I can like take a break by like, I'll watch this movie or do this. I don't need to go see what Antarctica look like. I know it's cold. So I hate vacations. But yeah, I cannot go on vacations unless I want to be more sad. Because then I'm like stressed out. I'm like behind. I could have got this done last week if I So
So the gym is one, and then is there something else that you have like do you have like affirmations or anything that you do for yourself, like on the mental front?
I try to meditate.
Yeah.
I think that's the best. I try to meditate. I think that's, man, I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
If I'm meditating, I'm working out, stretching, and I'm being productive, I'm pretty, and eating healthy.
Yeah.
I just can't be in a bad place. Mm-hmm. It's just impossible. And then when I'm meditating consistently, it's just hard when you get out of something to get back in.
Yeah.
And I don't have, I haven't been in my bed since April. So I don't have like a home base right now. So, I'm just making excuses. I'm making excuses.
No, you're all right.
I know, but I'm making excuses.
But I don't know. I think like because right now you're in between where you live permanently.
Yeah.
Like you don't have a permanent place right
Which
now,
makes
right?
it harder, but I'm still making excuses. I am. I'm just making excuses. Like I hate when people make it because I can still do it. I got an Airbnb. I can wake up and meditate. I thought about it. I was like, I don't feel like sitting there thinking about so I just didn't do it. And so I'm making excuses. It makes it more difficult to travel and be in shape and travel and meditate, but I can do it.
Yeah.
I just, sometimes you're like, I don't feel like doing it.
I get that. Well, I appreciate the hell out of you, and I'm a fan of what you do. But that's because I'm a fan of what you do, but I'm a fan of the human being as well. And I guess you can. If you want to plug anything or.
Yeah, man. Before I plug, I just want to say I appreciate you, man. I think he is one of the greatest writers of our generation, and you're awesome. I'm being serious. I'm dead serious. Okay. And a lot of comedians, I know you don't like compliments. Whatever, Brett. Take it. All right. So, but a lot of people feel that way. A lot of your peers, man. So I think you're awesome.
I appreciate that.
And I'll stop complimenting you, but I think you're awesome, man.
Say your stupid plug.
Can't
stand this.
And so you can find me on Tinder. I'm on OkCupid. Raya. I'm on Raya. That's one. Preacher Lawson on Twitter, Instagram, all that. I have like a podcast as well, and it's not this cool, but it will be.
It is funny though. I love it.
Oh, do you?
Yes, I do.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay,
I do.
cool.
I love hearing, and then I like, especially when you have it just like in a park,
Yeah,
public
yeah,
place,
yeah.
just letting your thoughts go. I love it.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm just talking.
Nah.
So yeah.
What's it called?
It's called The Greatest Day of My Life.
There you go.
So Greatest Day of My Life. Check it out, y'all.
Cool. All right. Thank you, Preach.
Have you ever had a dream that you had to do so much you could do anything?